Good morning. So what I'm going to do is as was noted, talk a little bit about some activities that we're doing at the facility that Jerry introduced to provide some water quality education as well as water conservation education. And we do it because of these kinds of things. If you look at this, this is not changing. This is indicative or typical across the West, really, but Utah is growing very quickly. We make a lot of children here, but you can see that incline, and it's not changing. The other thing that's really significant is how much water we apply to our home landscapes. Still, about 2/3 of the processed water that we use goes outside of our homes, and that's not too atypical around the West either, but Utah really is, depending on how you look at it, one of the very driest places around, and we're using a lot of water. The governor thinks we can do better. We have made some strides and reduced our water use, but it's not keeping up with population though either. This thing always comes into play. We've got drought somewhere. We just have experienced the hottest summer on record here in northern Utah, record only being 140 some years or whatever, but the point is it's really hot, really dry, and this moves around. The impacts of drought are significant, and we're trying to address that. So as Jerry noted, we have this place. It's this physical location that we started building about 12 years ago called the USU Botanical Center. It's located about 20 miles north of Salt Lake. It's not on our main campus. It's about 60 miles south of our main campus. And it's planted right in the middle of a very suburbanized area. Houses all around us, and I-15, the major road artery north-south, is adjacent to one side of our property. So the plus side of that is 100,000 plus cars a day are going by this place. So it's good in that respect that we get some attention. The downside is 100,000 cars a day are going by this place because it creates all sorts of interesting challenges. So we're surrounded by suburban homes. We've got this major freeway. We're about 2 miles east of the Great Salt Lake, the eastern edge of the Great Salt Lake. And so it's a real world place. This is not probably the ideal location you would choose if you were going to go find a botanical garden site. So it allows us to, though, answer and address real world questions. And that's what's, I think, very intriguing about it. So what I wanted to do is talk to you just briefly about a few of the water conservation efforts that we're making, as well as some water quality efforts. The nice thing is we have this physical place, and that's really a take-home, I think, that we have this location, this physical place that is really a one-stop shopping for the university in an off-campus location. So we have research, teaching, and service all in one place, and it is right, as I said, in the middle of the major populace. We have this cool place called the Utah House, and Jane over here is our coordinator. We have a little table back here about the house. It's this model sustainable house. This is not a new concept by any means, but it's something that has been very successful. 10,000 people a year are coming through this place, a lot of children, a lot of people are seeing it. We try to get developers and contractors to come see us, but it's very efficient. It's proving consistent in that efficiency, and we have rainwater collection and rain barrels and stuff like that. We have different kinds of irrigation. We have a lot of printed materials, and we're trying to do better at our website and things like that. In conjunction with that, then, Jane offers a whole bunch of environmental education field trips and summer camps and ways to bring children especially to this location, which has been very, very useful. So here it is. It literally is across the street from a neighborhood, a subdivision. And so it looks and feels quite a bit different than those homes right across the street, and it provides an interesting contrast. It doesn't look scary, though, or weird. people, it has a lot of curb appeal, and so people really enjoy it, and they kind of think, oh, I could live here. So, and here we are doing some field trips. Some other some other water conservation things that we're doing, as Jerry mentioned, we're very interested in native plants. The Botanical Center is native plants if we can do them, and well-adapted, non-invasive exotics are acceptable. And for the reasons that Jerry explained too, in terms of attractiveness to buyers and homeowners and so forth. We do have a lot of native plants, native plantings though on the property at this point around our parking areas and property lines along the I-15 frontage are all native plants that we initially water and then we haven't watered them for a long time. And it's kind of survival of the fittest, and that's going along pretty well. There are some challenges though with it for sure. We're doing some water-wise demonstrations. We have some gardens though that are very water conserving and demonstrate that in as attractive way as we can make them. One focusing on ornamental grasses, one on water-wise perennials. One is a completely native planting in a contrived artful condition. And we also have, for example, an on-site demonstration orchard that we've just started. I forget, Jerry, what, 50 plus different varieties of apples and peaches for homeowners so that they can get an idea. And then we do plant sales. We have a membership program, and we have an annual plant sale where people can come and acquire some of this stuff. We're not in competition with nurseries. We have an on-site nursery and greenhouse, but our production is so low that we're certainly not in competition with the local garden centers and things. But we do have some very interesting plants that are a little harder to find, and so these plant nerds who are our members, they come out and they really love to acquire some of these things. So here's a planting as an example along a parking lot. We haven't watered it for about 6 years, doing just fine. It works as a screen. Here's a beautiful little perennial garden that is very attractive and very water conserving. We have a brand new education building where we do distance education, interactive video conferencing classes for graduate students. And so why not plant the thing instead of putting lawn out in front of it, have some sort of physical demonstration that illustrates the beauty of it, the interest and options that people can do. Here's an arboretum we've got going. It's got over 200 varieties of well-adapted, not all native, but well-adapted landscape trees all in one setting. And as that grows up, it's going to be a huge resource and asset to local homeowners. Here's this little ornamental grass garden that we've got started. It's just a couple of seasons old, and but eventually we'll have about 100 varieties of ornamental grasses for people to get an idea about. The Utah House, we have vegetables, and we have these, I didn't take a picture, I should have, we have these beautiful espalier fruit trees, apple trees that are actually producing fruit this year, so that's pretty fun. And here's this little contrived, artful native plant garden, but it's very difficult to maintain it like this. We're finding the weeds are more aggressive than the native plants, and so it takes a lot of effort to keep it, try to keep it looking good. Here we are at some plant sales. There's Jerry even. And I asked for your forgiveness. I copied the water conservation page to the water quality page, and then I forgot to fill in a few blanks. So what I'm going to illustrate about water quality is we have some ponds and wetlands. We have a biofilter. We're working on a stream environment, and then a few programmatic things. On this property, we have about 25 acres of open water, of ponds, and our second presenter showed the value of having wetlands as water quality treatment. And we rehabilitated these ponds. They were in dismal condition when we acquired them. We revamped them. It was this kind of stuff for 3 summers. And it was an incredible effort. And we built in wetland shelves and fish spawning areas. And so, like you described, they become these extremely valuable assets. For the city, they provide stormwater detention area, and then they provide us educational opportunities as well as public recreation opportunities. We're in a great partnership with the state to plant fish in those ponds. And so they're much, much healthier now as we've remodeled them. Another thing we have is this biofilter associated with a building. It's a proprietary system based out of Washington State, I believe, but it's the only one in Utah. The State Department of Water Quality wanted us to try it. So this is a great venue for us to have this on-site biofilter sewage treatment facility. We're building a stream. It's not a golf course water feature. It's a real, supposed to be a functioning stream environment that will improve the water quality of the ponds and illustrate to people what a riparian corridor can do, you know, and provide for songbirds and a whole bunch of other attributes. But it's coming along. We did a graduate thesis to do a planting plan for it. We're in a great partnership with the Nature Conservancy for some field trip opportunities. They're located, 5 minutes, they're located just to the west of us, about 2 or 3 miles, with a great facility on the eastern edge of the Great Salt Lake. And we've joined forces with them in providing some very specialized 4th grade field trip information for children. And so they go here, and then they go to this other place, this wetland discovery building that I'll show you some photos. We're also doing things with our roads. Anything we can provide as a demonstration, we're trying to do that. So our roads have low profile curbs, they have vegetated swales. We process or address all of our own stormwater on site. And we have this wonderful little classroom building. It's a LEED Platinum building that's designed to primarily serve as an environmental education opportunity, but it includes a lot of water conservation features. It has waterless urinals. It has 2-stage toilets. It has those fun little buttons that you can push 1 or 2, depending on what you need. And it has this biofilter, as I described. It has a 3,500 gallon rainwater collection system that we use then to flush the toilets. And I'll show you some pictures. There's still some things we want to do, though. We need a lot of interpretive signage. We're growing. We're slowly evolving and developing this facility. We need, you know, exhibits and so forth. My job is to find the money, and then we can go to design and implementation. And so it takes a lot of effort, but so far so good. It's we want to do some water quality monitoring with the extension water quality and state water quality folks, and do some rain barrel things and so forth. This is a model of our little classroom building. We built a place for it on the pond. It was really fun, and so here it is. It's literally in that barren spot, and we built this wonderful little LEED Platinum classroom that works really well for our education field trips. And so some take-homes that I would say are, a physical place is really good. It's not the easiest route, but providing these real-life physical demonstrations are highly valuable to people. And then to be a collaborator, like Jerry was saying. We've worked extremely hard to develop very strong partnerships with state agencies, natural resources, wildlife resources, water quality, and so forth, as well as nonprofits. And we're trying very hard to engage all audiences across the whole spectrum and bring people to this location so they can learn every time that they come. Thanks for your time.